Hello and hey, this is Zerogokin Reviews, and today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys Necron. I should probably explain what 40k is, but today is not that day. Just go watch a Sabaton AMV, you'll quickly find a Warhammer one, although it'll likely be about the Imperium of Man. And, I'm sorry, this isn't just something I think, this is objective fact. The Necrons are the most metal race in 40k. Shit. Anyway, how do I get home from here? I'm just gonna walk, it's fine. So, what is a Necron? Well, I guess they're angry Egyptians who were tricked into becoming tin cans by one of their gods. How could they have foreseen such an act from the one known as the, Deceiver? Sounds pretty trustworthy to me. Which, either way, might not have been the best idea, considering they later fought their gods and turned them into Pokemon. Originally, they were these cool, mysterious space Terminators, but nowadays they're essentially space Tomb Kings, which I like Tomb Kings, so it's not the worst thing. Besides, Warhammer was a significant part of my childhood, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Necrons. I actually thought that Dark Crusade came out later than Soulstorm, because it was inconceivable to my young mind that they would make a sequel that is basically the same game but worse. A giveaway would be that Soulstorm had more playable races. Yes, my favorite race. Women. I've gone off track, but this is a rather simple figure, so there's not a lot to discuss here. I guess we could start by talking about how it looks. I've always liked the designs of the Necrons, which is why they were my first choice when I played Dark Crusade, which, might have been a bad idea. The sculpt of the McFarlane figures might be the best out of all the existing articulated Warhammer figures. When they're Xenos, they're definitely the most detailed. The problem comes from the painting, and what really sticks out to me here is this green. I get what they're going for, but it looks like shit. Speaking of which, this is more subjective, but I'm not particularly fond of the Zarkon Dynasty color scheme, especially in this case with how this brown looks in such a minimum expense paint job. It looks okay in some places and bad in others. This is generally the problem with their entire Warhammer line. They're cheaply produced figures of designs that demand more complexity, which means instead of people complaining that they're too expensive, people are going to complain about how they look. Which, while I do agree, considering how much they cost, I find complaining about it somewhat asinine. Yes, $20 is still money, but for reference, this costs $400. I really do hate talking about value proposition in regards to figures. There's so much ground to cover for something that's largely ignored by the figure industry anyway. The basic gist of it is this. Anything that looks really nice is probably expensive and likely won't be as good as you think your money is worth, whereas anything affordable is not going to look too nice and/or requires work. Not to say that's exclusive to cheaper figures. I do think that in this case, considering this is both pre-painted and pre-assembled, they're hitting above their belt here. Again, most of this looks okay, although their Primaris and various other figures are a bit more of a mixed bag. This can obviously be sold by painting it yourself, which commendably is something they do cater to. It probably does say something that I think the Primaris looks much better without color. Yeah, let's move on.
Future Gokin here. Before we move on, there were two fuck-ups that I noticed while editing. I'll get to the other one later, but first, look at the arms here. For some reason I thought this is just how they were, but if we look at official artwork and cinematics, they actually have forearms with fairly normal proportions, so I don't know what's going on here. I'll be back for that second fuck-up.
It's like the Doom 3 shotgun of articulation. I don't think I actually know what that means, but articulation is a bit more limited for the Necron in comparison to the Primaris, since they didn't use any double joints here, and both have the problem of the upper legs being frustratingly limited. If this was like a Necron load or something, I'd probably complain more. I wouldn't call it good, but for a warrior I think this is fine. Accessories for McFarlane figures are the bare minimum. It's not like you're not gonna equip this, because weapon-holding hands are the only hands you get. You should be thankful you even get a scarab. Or not. What do I even do with this? Even the tabletop miniatures put them on some kind of stand. Which you do get for the Necron, and you know the drill. I will refrain from yelling heresy when I'm not happy. Granted, it does work fine, I guess. I still don't like the new logo.
Here's the other fuck-up I noticed. There's something a bit curvy about this Necron. His fucking gun, 'cause I don't know. I don't know why. They just are. I said they because this chainsword and power sword is bent as well. Weirdly enough, Eridan's thin-ass sword isn't. That's it from the future. Goodbye.
Aqua, Mazinger, Gorilla Gun, Shin. Overall, it's fine. If you're like me and have more expensive tastes, you probably shouldn't get this. I don't know if I'll get more McFarlane stuff, but assuming I'm still doing this, there will probably be more Warhammer. Most likely the Joy Toy stuff, since they're speedrunning releasing an entire faction at the moment. They also have mechs, and I have things to say. Either way, that's about it. Thank you to the patrons. The only Warhammer insult that comes to mind is Monkai, but I hate elves, so I'm gonna call this person a fucking idiot, and I'll see y'all next time.
The Necrontier passed from history. Only the Necrons remain.